Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Steve Mumm. Great to have you here. Very fortunate to be on location in the Governor's Mansion in Olympia. My guest this hour is Philip Jones, the Commissioner of the Utilities and Transportation Commission. Wonderful, wonderful to have you here. Of course, these regulatory agencies, the Utilities and Transportation, FCC, have been around for many, many decades, over a century in some cases. Can't imagine they anticipated tweeting and texts and internet access everywhere all the time. You have got to have a challenging job.
We do have a challenge, Steve, and one of them is our agency was formed about a century ago. And so in those days, there was not even a telephone, not to mention a television. So we got in the business of regulating telephone service with the advent of, of telephones in the 1930s and 40s. But as you know, that's just traditional, what we call wireline telephone service, endpoint to endpoint with circuit switching in between.
So you had hardware that you could follow, and you had a wire that went from A to B.
Correct.
Relatively simple.
But now we have technologies, even though wireless technologies use that basic wireline service, we have what Comcast has with cable VoIP service, we have satellite service, we have new services, IP to IP, Internet Protocol, device to another device, what we call over the top, that just travels on the internet platform. So for an agency like ours that has legal statutes that says you can only regulate this part of the telecommunications industry, it's difficult because all these services are interconnected. And
you may have good intentions, but perhaps the laws or the regulations haven't been created for you to implement them.
Correct. The last time the telecommunications law was changed was 1996. And just think about how much has changed in 15 years.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If I want to know about new wireless technology or whatever it might be, I ask my teenagers and my college kids, and they bring me up to speed. What is the level of communication with the industry where technology changes so rapidly? How do you keep current?
Well, we're very fortunate in this state because we have a big wireless industry with the former Macaw telecommunications folks, with now T-Mobile, with AT&T Wireless. We have Microsoft. We have CenturyLink, the new Quest. So we have lots of companies in this state that know a lot about technology. So my philosophy as a regulator is I want to be proactive. I want to know the technology. So I meet with all the carriers, not just the ones we regulate, to understand how the industry's changing. Because if you don't know where the technology is going, I as a regulator cannot do my job properly.
So that they can keep you in the loop as well. I know when I use my cell phone now, I don't necessarily like to look at cell towers, but I want my signal everywhere all the time. You talk about the digital divide, which is providing that broadband, that internet access to people, has to be hugely challenging in some of the less populous areas.
Yeah, we have two challenges now with broadband access. One is the access issue. And as we have access to maybe 88 to 90% of the households in the state. But reaching that last 10 to 12% is hard. It's expensive. So that costs money. And so working with the FCC and the carriers, we're trying to get broadband internet access out to all those areas. The other problem, and Comcast and many of the carriers are working on this, is adopting and utilizing the technology once it's in your house. About 1/3 of Americans, including our state, don't use the internet even if it is wired into your house or available in your house.
And what's the drawback there, or the resistance?
Several things. Fear of technology. But it's not just senior citizens. It's some people just are fearful and don't know how to use this cool new technology. The cost. There's an affordability issue, especially in the recession. Applications. People don't know that you can do telemedicine, tele-education. There are all these cool applications that you can do online, but if you're kind of set in your ways of doing it the traditional way, you don't know. So we have a big education and outreach effort to do.
I think I know people a lot. I spend a lot of money on tech consultants. When I want to know something, I ask a kid, because my teenagers are always way ahead of me. Real quick, and we've only got about 30 seconds, so it's going to have to be fast. Customer satisfaction. I know people love to talk about their cellular providers, and not always in very flattering ways in their television commercials. Very, very quick answer here.
It's the most complained industry in the state, telecommunications. So a lot of people complain, and a lot of it is the complexity of the plans and the types of services.
I apologize. We're going to have to leave it there, but okay. Enlightening. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. CNN Headline News just ahead.